interesting times. Today's stories: bushfires and extreme weather conditions are happening across Australia. New Zealand's Member of Parliament, Honourable Simon Bridges, visits the Philippines. Communities in Metro Sydney and Metro Brisbane in Australia, as well as in Auckland, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea, receive help from the Church of Christ's Aid to Humanity. Aussies celebrate Australia Day 2020. Plus, for EBC Sports, F1 2020 Australian Grand Prix cancelled due to COVID-19. This is Eagle News International Oceania Edition, broadcasting from Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, bringing you stories from around the Australia-Oceania region. I am Celine Ryan Andrews. Australia has been facing the worst case of bushfires for several months now. As the seasons transition, flooding and other extreme weather conditions are expected to hit the country next. Australians are to face more challenging times. Eagle News reporter Ronzel Castro has the story.
It has been a tough start of the year in Australia, with bushfires ravaging the east coast. Many homes were lost and properties damaged. Despite the devastating impacts of the bushfires, Australia is now recovering in hopes of bringing back what was lost in the fires. However, the country continues to face extreme weather patterns ranging from flooding and tropical cyclones. Seizing the bushfire, major storms and heavy rainfall began in many towns across Queensland and parts of New South Wales. The January rainfall was slightly above average for Australia as a whole, due to the high percentage of rainfall in western and central Queensland. This brought up severe weather patterns such as damaging winds with up to 85 kilometers an hour, heavy rain, and large hailstorms that impacted many residents. In the east coast of Queensland, Tropical Cyclone USE continues to bring a trough of low-pressure producing showers and thunderstorms that extends to the Northern Territory and southern Western Australia. The cyclone tracked southwest, bringing large and dangerous surf, affected the southeast coast of Queensland with moderate to heavy rainfalls. According to the Bureau of Meteorology, the rainfall totals in excess of 200 millimeters were recorded in the southeast parts of Queensland. Continuous rain has extinguished the largest fire and brought blazes under control. However, the attention is now on tackling flash flooding within most parts of Australia. Many reports indicate that dams are nearing their full capacity due to torrential rain. In parts of Victoria, within the coming days includes very humid conditions and storm for much of the state, along with heavy rainfall. Hundreds of people have been rescued from floodwaters in recent weeks. Currently, there are two active tropical cyclones. One of them is Tropical Cyclone Ferdinand, located in Western Australia, northwest of Broome. Tropical Cyclone Ferdinand is currently in Category 1, but is likely to move towards the west within the next few days and intensify to Category 3. The cyclone is set to bring in mild rainfall with wind gusts ranging from 60 to 40 kilometers an hour. Affecting the Northern Territory and Queensland border as a Category 1 tropical storm, Cyclone Esther made landfall and is expected to move westwards. The issued intensity of the cyclone is sustained with 75 to 100 kilometers an hour. As the storm crosses the coast, a storm tide will be expected. Residents are advised to make necessary preparations as it may produce minor flooding to protect their property. Heavy rainfall will possibly cause flash flooding in low-lying areas near the Gulf of Carpentaria. In response to the tragic bushfire crisis, the Australian government has established national inquiries to determine ways in improving the public's preparedness, resilience, and response to natural disasters. Reporting from Canberra, Australia, this is Ronzel Jan T. Castro, and I am one with 25.
Thanks, Ronzel. Meanwhile, in New Zealand, one of the members of Parliament, Honourable Simon Bridges, visited the Philippines. The highlights of his visit were shared in an exclusive interview by Eagle News reporter Greg Besser. Greg?
A delegation from the New Zealand Parliament, composed of the National Party leader, the Honourable Simon Bridges, former cabinet ministers, the Honorable Jerry Brownlee and Mark Mitchell, and Attorney Paulo Garcia visited the Philippines for 3 days from the 19th to 22nd of January this year. No other than the Honorable Simon Bridges, the head of the delegation, who gladly and proudly recounted the memorable and productive visit as he emphasized its significance to strengthen further the friendly ties between New Zealand and the Philippines.
Good afternoon, Honorable Simon Bridges. Many Filipinos here in New Zealand were happy to know that you, along with Honorable Jerry Brownlee, Honorable Mark Mitchell, and of course our very own Attorney Paulo Garcia, visited the Philippines last month, though it was only for 3 days. Now, what was the purpose of that visit? And then in relation to this question, what benefits did it generate as far as strengthening the bilateral ties between the Philippines and New Zealand?
It was a great visit, and I think it was significant because it is the first, I think, properly bilateral visit between New Zealand and the Philippines, where senior politicians haven't been going for any other reason like APEC or something else. I think there were two big things that were important. One is that I know, and you know, the Philippines and New Zealand, we're in the same neighbourhood. Naturally, we're on the ring of fire, we have natural disasters, but of course, politically, we're close to many countries like China and other Asian nations, and so we have the same international issues. We both share the same South China Seas Strait there, where most of our trade, New Zealand's trade, goes by, and so there's a lot of common issues to discuss in that matter. I think the other important thing is the people-to-people contact. You know, we've had long connections, but relatively superficial. And what we're seeing in New Zealand is massive growth in our Filipino community, which is adding so much to New Zealand. And so the ability to be there and understand that and encourage that growth in the links between our countries and Filipinos or Kiwi Nois who are here in New Zealand was a really good, important part of it as well.
Were you able to pick up or learn some Filipino words during the visit?
Yes, well, you know, in fact, I've been there before. I've been once for meetings in Cebu, which was great, and I will never forget the beautiful mangoes, and I had some more of them on this trip. The most delicious fruit in the world. But this was the most significant trip, and I hadn't been to Manila and seen all of the things there. We had a great time. I mean, the Filipino people are beautiful, hospitable, friendly people with great values.
Much as the Honorable Simon Bridges was satisfied with the outcome of the visit and is looking forward to another one in the near future, former Defense Minister of New Zealand, the Honorable Mark Mitchell, mentioned some areas of interest that need close collaborative engagements between the governments of these two countries.
It's important to take a strong delegation to the Philippines in support of Simon Bridges, our leader, and so two of the external portfolio holders, Jerry Brownlee, who has Foreign Affairs, and myself, who have the Defence portfolio, accompanied Simon. We met with your Foreign Affairs Secretary, and we also had a very good meeting with your Secretary of Defence.
On the lighter side of the visit, Attorney Paulo Garcia, the first Member of Parliament of Filipino descent, happily shared the relaxing moments of the delegation, like when they tasted some of the favorite yet iconic food of the Filipino people.
All in all, they experienced so much, met really great people, at the same time building those initial contacts that would facilitate, for sure, deeper relations, more trade in the future, easier acknowledgements and getting together because we have met many of the people who count and who are decision makers in the Philippines, and we have put them together with the decision makers here in New Zealand.
At Parliament grounds in Wellington, New Zealand, this is Greg Besa. I am and will always be one with 25.
Thanks, Greg. Coming up, communities in Metro Sydney and Metro Brisbane in Australia, as well as in Auckland, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea, receive help from the Church of Christ Aid to Humanity. Eagle News International Oceania Edition will return shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News International Oceania Edition. I'm Celine Ryan Andrews. As bushfires was on a massive spread in many areas, a great number of communities were terribly affected by the natural disaster. In Metro Sydney, the firefighting community and local government received assistance from the Church of Christ through the Aid to Humanity program. Eagle News reporter Alma Morales will share with us the highlights of the event. Take a look.
In an effort to contribute to the homeless and the affected residents of the bushfire crisis, the members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ have organized Aid to Humanity program simultaneously conducted in the eastern part of Australia. As the Australian bushfires continue to affect the country, many donations and contributions have been made for this calamity. The recent bushfires were said to be one of the worst bushfires in Australia's history. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian declared the state of New South Wales in a state of emergency due to the severity of the bushfires. The states of Victoria and New South Wales have all been affected by the smoke of the bushfires, affecting the air quality throughout the states. Additionally, the animal death toll has been said to be over 800 million, causing some species at risk for extinction. Today was an opportunity for the members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ to offer their help to those affected by the catastrophic bushfires within Australia. Goods were donated to the Blacktown City Council, who will oversee the distribution to the residents of the bushfire-affected areas. The Aid to Humanity program has been held several times across the globe. This initiative within the Church of Christ aims to help people who have been affected by calamities or who need extensive support within their communities. One of the notable Aid to Humanity events that was held last year was the Worldwide Walk to Fight Poverty, aimed to assist communities within the continent of Africa that are struggling with poverty.
What we are doing now is the aid to humanity, which is in relation to the campaign of the church administration to help our fellow men or our countrymen, especially those who are in need. Not only to give the help that they need, to show our love and our concern to them, but more importantly, to share with them the words of God that the members of the Church of Christ firmly believe in.
We're an organisation in the Hawkesbury that help the poverty, those experiencing homelessness and those with disadvantage. Well, first of all, everything we do with dignity and kindness. And I think it's very important that people know that somebody cares, truly cares. Today, oh, it was wonderful. It was such a beautiful spirit here. One of our favourite expressions is community spirit, and I could really sense it here today. And the hampers we're getting are just going to be amazing. Actually, some of them are going out tonight. I'm going straight from here to, we call it meal service, and we'll have up to 100 people of all ages, from babies to the elderly, and some of these will go out to them tonight.
Well, today, just a broader horizon. The amount of people that are out there, the number of people that are here, the friendship that is here, the community involvement that's here, it's well, it's empowering. I think it's going to broaden as well and go further. Aid for humanity is a good concept. I think we're all involved in that. And as Australians, we feel pretty good when we volunteer for that. So definitely.
But the most important thing today is to look after those who have been caught up into this catastrophe. There's over 2,000 homes being destroyed. There's 24 to 30 people lost their lives. So also, of course, there's so much dislocation in the countryside. We as Australians are jumping in to give their support, and certainly Blacktown City Council
I brought together all of our top town planners and managers, and we are putting together a plan where we as Blacktown City Council can give a level of support. So we are seeking to ensure that we play a significant role in supporting councils who need that support. We're already, of course, collecting huge amounts of food, contributions from our communities in Blacktown City, and of course that's now being on semi-trailers moving north, south, east and west to give the support to those who have been caught up in this mess. What we need also, of course, is a lot of financial support. People need money to buy the basics. So these are some of the issues that going forward need to be resolved by state and federal governments. We need to have a national plan going forward. How do we deal with this kind of catastrophic emergency in Australia?
The Aid to Humanity event has been conducted in other locations such as Canberra, Brisbane, Gladstone, Mackay and Townsville, being extended to non-members of the church that further strengthens community spirit. Reporting from Sydney, Australia, this is Alma Morales and I'm 1 with 25.
Thanks, Alma. Meanwhile, Filipinos with working visas, as well as the elderly, got assistance from the members of the Church of Christ as they organised another Aid to Humanity event in Metro Brisbane. Let's watch the highlights with Eagle News reporter Diego Madronio. Diego?
Anywhere in the world, the members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, are proactively engaged in providing assistance to those in need. That is exactly what is happening now in Brisbane, Queensland, in Australia. The church members are gathered once more to extend support to senior citizens, student and working visa holders in the country. Transitioning to a new environment poses challenges in itself, especially in a country with a different culture and environment compared to one's homeland. More so, transitioning to old age is also an inevitable phase in life that individuals must learn to accept and adapt with. As such a crucial stage in one's life, extending support to those in need is a very welcome gesture that these individuals, old and young, would very much appreciate. Because taking care of fellow men is also fundamental to the teachings in the Bible being upheld by the members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, the Aid to Humanity is being conducted here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. This is part of the global program of the Church to extend aid not only to their church members, but to the communities as well. A little help would go far indeed, and this is what the Iglesia Ni Cristo members have once again proven, that any support, big or small, would greatly impact the community, more importantly, an individual person's life. The Church's Global Aid to Humanity program is unstoppable, contributing small and large-scale projects to make people's lives better.
We are holding now our Aid to Humanity, and like what we have done at the first part of our activity was the preaching of God's words, and now we are providing some sort of entertainment for our guests that has attended. And then in a few moments, we will be providing some care packages as a token of our appreciation and to extend a helping hand to our fellow men. Well, the purpose of this activity, like what was initiated by our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, Aid to Humanity, we fulfill what is commanded by God to us, that as we love God with all our heart, mind, and soul, we should do the same to our neighbors. And part of that is that we will be extending a helping hand to those that are in need of our assistance.
The activity is very amazing and so wonderful, seeing different talents, and the people are, I can see that the people here are united. Yeah, and I'm so blessed that I am invited here by my friend. Actually, she's my co-teacher in the Philippines, and this is my first time attending this kind of gathering, and I'm very blessed because I'm able to at least hear God's teachings from the different pastors. Yeah, and it's very, you know, it's like nourishing my soul.
Reporting from Brisbane, Australia, this is Diego Madronio, and I'm 1 with 25.
Thanks, Diego. In Papua New Guinea, thousands of residents coming from impoverished communities receive help from the Aid to Humanity event organised by the Church of Christ. Here's Eagle News reporter Echo Hortaleza Quinola with a report. Echo?
Another eventful Aid for Humanity of the Church of Christ was held here in Papua New Guinea, one in Port Moresby, the capital city of Papua New Guinea, and one in Lae City, the country's second largest city. Here are the details. Holding an Aid to Humanity for the End Time in Port Moresby is a proof that this act of kindness will never stop. The Iglesia ni Cristo administration once again ensured in this part of the world that fighting poverty is one of their advocacies. They sent Brother Jonas Medrano, Australia West Assistant District Supervising Minister, to lead the evangelical mission and the dispersing of food parcels that went on smoothly and orderly. This will somehow alleviate the Moresbians' need. Brother Regino Manangan Jr., who helped in the distribution of goods, said, "People in Papua New Guinea are grateful that they are being loved and the Church of Christ members are of service to them. They feel the warmth of support and concern." Moreover, Brother Medrano, along with Brother Robert Santos, flew to Lae City and traversed rough roads and crossed lakes with a smile on their faces to reach the people of Raiko and West Taraka settlements and conducted again an Aid to Humanity where they were warmly welcomed with cultural dances and chantings. Goodwill bags were again distributed and the recipients were so delighted with the church humanitarian acts. The Iglesia ni Cristo administration and members believe that Aid to Humanity will somehow ease the plight of the less fortunate people because there is nothing more rewarding than sharing and caring for the Papua New Guineans and to all mankind.
The people of Port Moresby are very thankful to the Church of Christ members and especially to the church administration because the church administration are very kind, loving, and generous regardless of the race that we have.
It was overwhelming because, Church of Christ is one of the churches which is in the whole world, I will say that, because the community around the experience that the church has, it has done something which the other churches don't do in this country. All our friends who were invited in this day were overwhelmed also, and some were very interested to know the teachings of our church.
Reporting from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, this is Echo Hortaleza Quinola and I am 1 with 25.
Thanks, Echo. Working overseas is not an easy feat. Overseas Filipino workers face tremendous challenges as they strive to earn in a foreign land. In Auckland, New Zealand, overseas Filipino workers received assistance extended by the Aid to Humanity project sponsored by the Church of Christ. Eagle News reporter Evelyn Vivas with this story. Evelyn?
We're here at the venue of the Aid to Humanity of the Church of Christ, Iglesia ni Cristo, here in Auckland, New Zealand.
And here we are in Auckland at present, where we are holding an Aid to Humanity event, which is under the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, and this has been approved by the church administration. And this is an event which we are doing not only here in Auckland, but in 5 different other places here in New Zealand, and this is also being done simultaneously all around the world. This is an event that we have relaunched in the beginning of the year, because we have done this already in previous years, and it has been very successful in helping our fellow men. And the church administration has decided that this year we will relaunch this once again, and all the more intensify this work of propagation and this work of helping our fellow men. With the help of our Lord God, we are praying that this will be a very successful event.
New Zealand, the land of the long white cloud. This is where the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ recently held an outreach activity called Aid to Humanity through the Felix Y. Manal or FYM Foundation, the charitable arm of the Iglesia Ni Cristo. The event took place in various cities around New Zealand. Here in Auckland, New Zealand, the event was held at the Auckland Netball Centre at number 7 Alison Ferguson Drive, St. John's. Auckland Netball Centre is the oldest netball centre in Auckland, and it's the largest netball centre in New Zealand. The volunteers prepared and donated free care packages of food and basic personal items to the families within the community.
And we thank our Lord God and of course our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Jojo V. Manalo, for launching this very big event. In the New Zealand district, a lot of brethren, led by all the ministers, workers, and the officers, are taking part in this very big event.
Ako po si Ronnie Lumen, Mandaluyong City sa Pilipinas, dito sa New Zealand, sa Papua po. Ang pinaka-tumatak po sa akin dito, sa vision ko, ay yung kung kailan na itatag yung Iglesia ni Cristo noong 1940 kasabay ng World War I, at yung mga signs na nangyayari ngayon ay katulad ng nasa scriptures ng INC. Kaya medyo kung iisa-isayin po natin yung mga nangyayari na kalamidad, gyera, sakuna, aksidente, halos pan po. Parehas po talaga yung mga nangyayari sa mga sinabi po na ng mga minister.
Tagal na akong naghahanap ng paraan para ma-meet ko yung parang major parties yung bumubuo ng Iglesia ni Cristo. And yun. So, nung sinabi sa akin ni
every Christian should be doing something similar to what we're doing. Practical Christianity calls on us to give to our less people with less need, with less means in life, those who need to be helped the most. Yeah. So that's something that really struck me. The reason why you're doing these things today.
And congratulations, it's very successful.
Yes, very successful. We see that. Tuloy-tuloy nyo lang po at marami kayong matutulungan ng mga Pilipino dito sa New Zealand.
From New Zealand, I am Sister Evelyn Vivas, and I am one with 25.
Thanks, Evelyn. More stories coming up. Stay with us. Eagle News International Oceania Edition will be right back. Welcome back. This is Eagle News International Oceania Edition, broadcasting from Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. I am Celine Ryan Andrews. Australians celebrate the nation, its achievements, and most of all, its people in their annual Australia Day. Let's take a peek at the celebrations across Australia with stories from Andrea Colleen Bruwaga, Patricia Madronio, and yours truly. Take a look. January 26, as the country's national day, Australia Day is celebrated with pride amongst Australians. 230 years ago, European settlers arrived in the land. The rest became history. Today, Australia is home for a culturally diverse people, flying the Australian flag from businesses, homes, cars, and even their babies to mark the celebration of Australia Day. They attend festivals, fireworks, community and sporting events, or gather for family barbecues at homes, parks, or on the beach. As the significance of this day differs amongst the nation's population, let's take a look at how Australia Day is celebrated in the country's key places.
Happy Australia Day! Australia Day is a day to celebrate how multicultural our nation has become. Brisbane has lined up festivities for this important occasion, from firework displays, family picnics, markets to all-nighter social Whatever you have in mind for the day, there's an event out there to cater for it. The moment every Brisbaneite waits for an Australia Day, Brisbane fireworks. There are several vantage points worth visiting to get that spectacular view of the display. River cruise companies such as Kookaburra River Queens and Brisbane Cruises offer scenic sailings timed to ensure yours is the best seat in the house when the fireworks start. Recommended viewing locations are Clem Jones Promenade, the Cultural Forecourt, and River Quay. In some places, one would also find food stalls, live music, performers, lamington eating competitions, and games. There's the Great Australian Bites Food Festival in regional Queensland that features the best fodder of the area in the form of pop-up stalls by local providers and makers, accompanied by local entertainment. There's also the Australia Day Long Lunch in Brisbane, the ultimate barbecue with mates and strangers. Reporting from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, this is Colleen Bruega, and I am one with 25.
Despite a large emphasis on tourism and extravagant celebrations to commemorate special events, the city of Gold Coast was relatively quiet during Australia Day. Importance was placed upon spending quality time with loved ones and friends. With malls and stores closed for the day, families came together around the Gold Coast to celebrate the serene and pristine Sunday. The beaches and coasts were sprawling with those looking to beat the summer heat with a morning in the waves. Many of the public parks and recreational areas hosted a number of families enjoying their public holiday with a casual picnic. For some, Australia Day was spent at home simply enjoying the peaceful company of others. Schools also pushed their schedules back to allow students an extra day to celebrate with their families. We'd like to wish everyone a very happy Australia Day. My name is Patricia Madronio from Gold Coast, Australia, and I'm one with 25.
Australia Day is celebrated each year on the anniversary of the first fleet from Britain landing in Sydney Cove. However, there are more growing movements of people who feel the holiday must change date or theme on account of the terrible impact of colonisation on the Indigenous people, who called Australia home for tens of thousands of years before the Europeans arrived. Nevertheless, the festivities for Australia Day continue. Citizenship ceremonies across the nations are being held for people becoming citizens of Australia. It is also the day that the Australian government recognises the citizens and other people for achievement or meritorious service by giving them the Order of Australia. Reporting from Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, this is Celine Ryan Andrews, and I'm one with 25. Meanwhile, with the recent spread of coronavirus affecting at least 100 countries, the organisers cancelled the Formula 1 2020 Australian Grand Prix. Here's Eagle News reporter Dwight Albert Balolo with the story. Dwight?
It's been recently announced that the Formula 1 2020 Australian Grand Prix to be held in Melbourne, Australia is cancelled due to the pandemic coronavirus. Besides Australia, countries to hold the said event like Bahrain, Vietnam, China, Netherlands, Spain, and Monaco have been either postponed or cancelled. Formula 1 drivers aims to stage a virtual reality races in order to guarantee the safety of the drivers. Fans can expect to stream this virtual race via YouTube, Facebook, and other official social media sites of the Formula 1. The organization hopes to stage the said event at a later date, possibly at the first week of June in Azerbaijan. Reporting from Melbourne, Australia, this is Dwight Albert Baloloy, and we live in interesting times.
The world today faces the massive threat of coronavirus or COVID-19, spreading on a very fast rate and affecting thousands of people to date. New Zealand has reported more than 20 confirmed cases, while Australia alone has more than 500, with these numbers expected to rise in time. However, amidst the panic and the chaos, the best way for us is to stay calm, stay informed, and be protected. Here are some tips on how we could protect ourselves from COVID-19.
Coronavirus. Coronavirus is a type of virus that affects the respiratory tract. They are associated with the common cold, pneumonia, and severe acute respiratory syndrome or SARS, and can also affect the gut. Symptoms include fever, coughing, sore throat, fatigue, and shortness of breath. Prevention is the best way to protect ourselves. Here are some healthy habits we can do. Cover mouth when coughing or sneezing. Wash hands thoroughly for no less than 20 seconds. Sanitize the hands every chance you get. Hydrate and boost the immune system. It is important to be aware and stay informed. If you're sick, stay at home and seek medical advice. Keep calm and don't panic.
Thank you for joining us in this episode of Eagle News International Oceania Edition. See you next time for stories from our bureaus across the Australia-Oceania region. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on twitter.com/eaglenews and on facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I'm Celine Ryan Andrews. We live in interesting times.